tips of what we did to get started. Basically, we were all sitting here with the people that had never done a deal at one point, and we turned into people that do deals, and so we were just asked to kind of share a little story, 2 tips of what we do to do it. So my first experience with investing was several years ago. I just bought a rental property, didn't do much else with it. It's my one and only property, sat on it for years and years, just kind of rented it out. Went and did my career or whatever. Came back here and decided I needed real estate full time. So I went in and became a real estate agent, and that's my very first tip for me. I don't know if it works for you. There's a lot of people who say pluses and minuses to being an agent and investing. I became an agent. I could not have done it without becoming an agent. Most of you know I'm a wholesaler, right? That's what you all know me for, wholesaling. 60 to 70% of my business is wholesaling. The rest is retail or retail real estate or rentals. So as a wholesaler, I found out that agents don't like to do a lot of work for a little bit of money. So I had to become my own agent. I don't know, how many people in here are agents? Okay, a lot of you. If you weren't an investor agent, if you were just a normal retail agent, how many of you would write 60 or 70 offers for a $40,000 house and get paid $8,900 for it? One, maybe? Okay, so as a wholesaler, where I'm going out and writing 20, 30, 40 offers a week, maybe getting one under contract, and out of every 3 I get under contract, actually having a good enough deal to sell one out. That's a lot of offers for an agent to go out and show, do research on, whatever, only get paid $900, and then turn around and see a wholesaler that's getting $3,000 or $4,000, and the wholesaler go, well, I didn't have the work, I didn't have the paperwork, the wholesaler got all the money. Most agents don't do that. So as a wholesaler, I had to become an agent. That's just something I had to do. Instant access to the MLS, which is great. I can do it anytime, day or night, whatever. Write my own offers, do it at my own time, leisure, whatever. Second thing was, if I ever wanted to become a big rehabber, I learned that most of them were agents themselves. I mean, let's think of the big names in the group. Randall, are you an agent?
I am.
You are, huh? Pete McCoy's not here, he's an agent. Margaret Holt, is she here? She's an agent. Matt's not an agent, but he is a mortgage broker and has agents in his office working with him. I think you have access to the MLS too, is it?
Not as a broker.
Oh, you don't? No. You did. Anyway, it became apparent to me that being an agent was the way to do it. So I get a lot of you coming up and asking me, how do I wholesale? Teach me how to wholesale. And if anyone that's done that to me recently, what did I tell you to do? I said, go out and become an agent. There are ways to wholesale and not be an agent. I totally agree with that. You can do FSBOs, you can do whatever, you can hire an agent. I don't know how to do it. People come and ask me all the time. My first suggestion, if you want to be a wholesaler, is go out and become an agent. It costs a whopping $1,500. Easiest course I ever took, easiest test I ever took, best investment I ever made. $1,500, took me 2 weeks, went to the test. Thousands of dollars later, I don't regret it. Okay? If any of you are interested in becoming an agent, come see me. I'll point you to the right school, point you to the right broker, in my opinion, and get things moving on that way. All right, so I became an agent. I didn't know what I wanted to do as an agent. I didn't have wholesaling in mind when I became an agent. So my first year as an agent, I would close a whole 2 deals. I'll do 2 deals my first year. My first deal I closed was my best friend's house, and I went to her and said, I'm an agent now, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Let me list your house. We won't sell it, I just need to do the paperwork so I understand what's going on. 3 months later, we sold it. She moved out, and moved back into her parents' house, and 4 or 5 months later, I sold her the house she's now living in. Those were my first and only 2 transactions the first year I was an agent. That was great, right? What are best friends for? I didn't make commissions on the selling end, obviously, because she was my best friend, so I only made 1 commission. So at the end of my first year, I thought, wow, this is for a great living. This is fantastic. I need to do something else. Now, in the meantime, this is my second point. Again, I didn't get paid to do this, not promoting anything, but in the meantime, that whole year that I sold 2 fabulous transactions, I was coming to the meetings. I was a wallflower, kind of sat in the back, didn't know anyone, didn't meet anyone, didn't network, but I was coming. And I was learning very quietly, just listening to Randall ramble on, which he did so well for a very long time. I took a lot of notes, so his rambling counted for a whole notebook worth of stuff. But through that whole course of the year, I never came up and introduced myself to Randall, never met Matt, never met anybody, I just took notes. And after that first year, I thought, okay, Randall keeps talking about this wholesaling thing. It seems pretty risk-free, seems pretty easy, let's give it a try. So I made it a point to go to a CE class that Randall was teaching with equity, and listened to the whole class and thought, okay, Randall's a big investor, he's a big, powerful guy, but I'm going to do it. And after the CE course, I went up and introduced myself to Randall, and we got talking and found out we had a lot in common, and he was a very nice guy. He wasn't as big and scary as he seems sometimes. He has a really big, scary dog who's also very friendly. But other than that, got talking with Randall, and he said, yeah, you know, just go do it. And I said, okay. So we started going to seminars and that. So a full, probably 15 months from when I started coming to this Slurry group, 15 months later, just about, I did my first deal. I was really nervous. So I had gone and started writing offers, and I submitted my very first offer, and went, I just wrote an offer, I don't have a buyer for her. It's really scary. And it got accepted. And not 30 seconds later, I was on the phone with Randall and going, Randall, what do I do? What do I do? And he says, oh, yeah, just put in a trust note. And I'm like, trust? Of course. I knew that. Trust, yeah, it's on my notes. Go trust. So Randall was kind enough and brought me down to his office and sat me down. He spent a couple of good hours with me. Helped me out with the trust and all the fun stuff. And sent me on my merry little way. And 2 or 3 weeks later, you know, I called him a couple of times, but gets to the end, I'm like, Randall, this property's closing. And I still don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. No clue. And Randall's like, yeah, it's fine. Just go close it like normal. I'm like, okay, so this is my 3rd transaction as an agent. I had no idea what I was doing. Randall talked me through the whole thing. Get to the end, it closes, and I'm like, so what do I do with this trust now? Randall's like, no, just resign the trustee, you know, move on. I'm like, resign the trustee? Okay, how do I do that? So it was a good learning experience, but you know, after that first one, it took me probably 3 weeks after I closed my very first deal to kind of go through the steps in my head and go read through all the paperwork and everything and go, oh, that's what happened. Oh, I get that now, you know, lights turn on. But I had to do the first one, and I had to network to do it. So my second tip on agent first, had to learn to be an agent. My second one was that I was coming to the meetings and networking. And it was really important. I couldn't have done the deal if I wasn't an agent. I couldn't have done the deal if I hadn't met Randall and talked to him and met him. As I've gone and done more and more wholesales, I find that networking is the biggest key. I've got 6 on my table right now that I'm working, and I think 5 of them are with people in the club. Not you this time.
Rude.
You don't have a deal right now. 5 of my 6 that I'm planning to close in the next 30 days are people I've met here in the club. Bruce, how did I meet you?
Right here.
Right here. Tim, how did I meet you?
The club.
Did we close a deal recently?
Yeah.
Have we closed deals, Bruce? We've done 3 together, right? Met him here in the club.
Did your wife know?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's a joke, guys. She loves it.
I don't know if Margaret's here. Met her through the club. Almost all, matter of fact, I'd venture to say 2 of my clients I have not met in the club, and the rest that I have sold wholesales to, I've met and networked right here. And not necessarily, I mean, right here in the club, I've gone to lunch with a lot of people. I get calls, you know, go to lunch, I network. I do one-to-ones. I don't know if any of you know what a one-to-one is. It's a B&I term, but go out and just sit down and meet people and say, tell me about you. Tell me about what you're doing. What are you looking for? You just get, no, I don't have a deal. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to get to know you. So when I have something come to my plate, I go, that's what Matt looks for. I'm going to send that to Matt. Or, you know, that doesn't fit Matt's criteria. I'm not even bothering with it because I know it doesn't fit. But it fits Bruce. And so I know who you are, and you know who I am, and we know what we do. Networking is the biggest key to me as a wholesaler. I did not wholesale if I didn't come to these meetings, didn't network, didn't do phone calls, didn't do one-to-ones, and just didn't meet people. It's just that those are my biggest 2 things. Any questions on that? I don't know if my time's up, probably.
We're good.
I'm just going to keep rambling unless they tell me to stop. Any questions? I think I answered Karen's question, didn't I?
You did answer my question?
Okay.
I have another one.
We have time for 2 questions.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, someone else.
I was just curious what it's like, what it does pay every year to stay as an agent as a worker.
We have to pay dues, which is about, what is it, Randall, $700 in dues for agent and then $500 for the MLS.
About $2 grand to do everything.
About $1,500 annually. So let's, I've paid $1,500 in January to renew. I've easily made 10, 20, or that, whatever the math is on that. Easily recouped it on my very first transaction, January 3rd or whatever. Nothing else is problem on that. Being an agent is actually relatively cheap. If you do the work, don't become an agent and keep your license away, it's very expensive. Yeah, dues are 7 something, and it's all tax deductible too. Yeah, it's great.
One more question.
As a real estate agent, are there any complications with contracts in purchasing homes for wholesaling purposes?
I don't purchase contracts in my name. I purchase them in the name of the trust that I have no interest in. Otherwise, I would have to just disclose that I was an interested party. But I'm technically not, because I write my contract in the name of a trustee of a trust that I have no personal interest in, so I don't have to disclose anything.
So you're not writing a contract with people that are selling a home?
Owner occupieds? Those are a little bit different, and I do disclose those, and I use a different addendum for that. But most of my stuff on MLS that I use is short sales or REOs. And again, I still just write everything in a trust. It just makes it's cleaner, and I don't have to worry about disclosing. If it's a homeowner that's not listed on the MLS, I go and introduce myself and say, hey, I know you're selling your house, I'm interested in buying it, that type of thing. I disclose everything to them, absolutely. But just on the bank, I keep my
Trust?
Sure. I haven't found anyone that doesn't work with the trust. Have you, Randall?
Yes.
HUD. I don't think HUD works well with trust. I have to use an LLC on a HUD. But that's because you have to send in all the paperwork within 24 hours, and it's very rare to buyer, so I don't bother with that on trust. Title companies, I haven't had an issue, but Randall might have, but I've never had.
Great.
Okay?
Give a round of applause.